The terrorism case against one of last year's July Unrest alleged instigators, Bruce Nimmerhoudt, will resume tomorrow. Nimmerhoudt made a brief appearance in court today. That was at the Roodepoort Magistrate's Court. The Patriotic Alliance regional leader is accused of creating and distributing a voice note urging people to loot malls during that July 2021 violence and riots that resulted in the death of hundreds of people and the destruction of businesses. My colleague, our reporter Silindelo Masikane, was in the Roodepoort Magistrate's Court earlier today. She's back now in the studio joining us now just to give us a sense of what happened in court earlier today. Silindelo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Baden. So basically what we saw is essentially the trial that is underway for Bruce Nimmerhoudt. We know, of course, that he's accused of creating and distributing a voice note where he's encouraging people to not only loot malls, but to also block roads, basically inciting violence. The NPA added a terrorism charge to that effect as well. And the trial has been ongoing since about July this year. This morning, what we saw was the investigating officer taking to the witness box and giving his account in terms of how he was assigned to the matter you know, exactly how investigations have unfolded. Of course, a lot of questions around whether it is Bruce Nimmerhoudt in that voice note, questions around whether the IO himself could be able to tell that the voice belonged to Nimmerhoudt. Let's just take a listen.
I need to clarify, you said you hear colored accent. What is that accent?
Africans, or let me say, Africans and colored, the accent is different.
How different?
They don't sound the same.
Nobody sounds the same.
But you can be able to distinguish between the two.
Interesting question there about accents, Silindelo. So let's talk about the defense. What did they say in that cross-examination?
Essentially, they've said that they've been quite poor investigations in this matter, and they've accused the investigating officer of not really assisting the court in terms of coming into a determination. Now, I must say, Bradan, that there was a forensic analysis of some sort that was done where Nimmerhoudt actually gave a sample of his voice for examination. And from what we understand, the company that was tasked to actually compare the voice note as well as the sample from Nimmerhoudt. We understand that the software that they were using isn't licensed in the country, which is something the defense is going to raise in its arguments, and that in fact the witness that was brought to speak on the software and what it does is not an expert either. So the verdict, I think, is still out as to whether this is Nimmerhoudt in that voice. I mean, we had it played in court. There was actually a comparison to one voice note that Nimmerhoudt had sent to counsel and the actual voice note that was played. And in my opinion, I couldn't hear any similarities. But of course, the voice note that was distributed during the unrest sounds like it does have an effect on it. But let's just take a listen to what the IO had to say in terms of his opinion around whether he can actually tell whether that is Nimmerhoudt in the voice note.
I'm putting it to you that your opinion here today is the same as everyone else's opinion that came here before court. And that nothing that you said here today can assist or would assist the court in finding that the voice note that you listened to is that of the accused. The first one, the Bible one. What's your comment on it?
I'm not an expert. I cannot say definitely this voice is the accused voice. So I cannot definitely say to this court the voice in the voice clip and the voice of the accused is exactly of the accused. Hence, I can only give my opinion.
Okay, Silindelo, so it's resuming tomorrow. Is this issue of trying to establish whether it is the voice of Nimmerhoudt or not, going to continue tomorrow?
Yes, we resume tomorrow. We understand the case is very close to closing their case. And what we understand is that there's going to be one more witness that's called by the state to come and testify. We understand it's another police officer. And then, of course, what we are expecting is that the defense will then possibly apply for a 174 in terms of an acquittal, because they believe that there simply isn't enough evidence against Nimmerhoudt at this point. But we resume tomorrow at 9 o'clock at the Roodepoort Magistrate Court.